This is my Tiger 900 GT Pro 2023 year model. I recently installed a third-party GPS device mounting bracket to replace the factory windscreen adjustment handle. This is my 5-inch Android Auto CarPlay device. Join me in this video as I install this device and the two cameras that came with it, as well as power supply to the rear auxiliary power socket. I want to supply power to the Android Auto device by drawing power from the rear accessory socket, because that socket is ignition switched, so the power is not on all the time, but it's turned on only when the ignition switch is on. To do that, I have to run the cable underneath the rider seat and then underneath the fuel tank on the left hand side and up to the front. But I also want to run the rear video cable under the fuel tank, under the rider seat, under the pillion seat to the rear rack. So the first thing I need to do is remove the rider seat and the left hand side seat panel. I have to undo these two screws to remove the left hand side seat panel. I need a 5mm Allen key. It's quite easy to undo. There's very little torque that tightens it. Put the screw in my magnetic tray. Next screw to undo. Just be careful not to drop the screw into the motorcycle somewhere. And there are 3 plastic plugs holding this panel in. I think one's here, one here, and one there. And I pull upwards in this direction. There. So looking at the reverse side of the panel, you see there are slots. Slot 1, slot 2, and then a tongue 3. So the slots slide into here, 1, 2, and the third one grips this. This is the power supply cable, it's the plug end, and this is the rear view camera plug end. I've taped them two together. I've also taped the end of the video camera plug because there are 4 holes for the pins to go in, and I don't want dirt to get in there and clog up the holes. I've inserted a plastic blue tongue and it's passed through the front. I'll tape the plugs to the blue tongue, and I have a length of corrugated cable loom. What I'll do is I will wrap the 2 cables in there to protect the cables. Now I hope they'll slip in and that it's not too big. I'll begin pulling the blue tongue plastic from the front. That's good, it goes in easy, that's good. It has actually passed out the other end. This is the step down transformer from battery voltage to 5V DC. I will cut a groove for the rear video camera cable to exit the wiring loom. There, like that. And then take this end so it remains closed. And take this end so that the video camera cable only exits out through that cut hole. There. I will now install this ball clamp with the rubber spacers to this 22mm bar. Just so I do not drop anything on the screen and damage the screen, I'm going to cover the screen. Be easy if I turn this around first so that the washers and nuts do not drop out. It's a bit troublesome, but I'll get there. Yes, one side's tightened now. Now I do the other side. Yep, the nuts just sitting there. Turn it around so that I can use my screwdriver. Before I tighten it any further, just to orient it in the correct direction. about there. Right, that's about the orientation I want, and this is about center. I think I can start tightening the screws. The nut at the other end is spinning, so I'm just using a small flathead screwdriver to stop it from spinning. Yep, it stopped spinning. That looks good. Now to tighten the other side. That's good, very tight, it's not gonna go anywhere. Now to install this double ball clamp. Finally, the Android Auto device itself. Alright, the Android Auto CarPlay device is installed and it sits above the motorcycle's TFT screen. I prefer to have the Android device above the screen rather than mounted on the handlebar where it's below, because I believe that when riding, looking at this device eyes up is safer than looking at the device eyes down away from the road. This is the cable from under the fuel tank from the rear. This is the power supply cable. This is the rear video camera cable. So what I'll do is pull a bit more length, pass it under the screen, and I'll pass the cables through a wire loom as well. Electrical tape around the end of the wiring loom, just so the wiring loom stays closed. So for the cabling, these are the 3 cables from the Android Auto CarPlay device. All the plugs come up here. I cable tie it to the double ball joint clamp so that if I park the motorbike in the public space, I can unlock this complete assembly and take this assembly away by disconnecting these 3 plugs. This cable loom contains the power cable as well as the rear video camera cable. This cable loom contains the front video camera cable. I cable tie it to this windscreen support, and I also cable tie the 2 cables here as well as to the headlight support frame underneath. To install the front camera on this beak, I'll just spray some isopropyl alcohol to clean the surface. The Android Auto kit came with 2 pieces of 3M heavy duty adhesive. Peel the white protective film off. That looks good. Make sure I give it a good press. Now peel the second protective film off. It's coming off. Now carefully position the camera where it needs to go. It can't go too far back, otherwise the camera cannot tilt high enough forward. Apply pressure. I can now tilt the headlamp protector down again. That will do. For the rear view camera, if I install it here behind the tail light, I'm quite sure the field of view will be obscured by the tail light. So my best option is to install it upside down under the rear rack handle. Clean the footing with isopropyl alcohol. Clean the rear rack underside with isopropyl alcohol. Now to apply the 3M heavy duty double-sided adhesive. This time I'll peel off the red protective film first. Carefully align the double-sided tape. Now find the spot where I can adhere it. I will temporarily adjust the pointing of the camera. I think that will do. I'll now show you where I've cable tied the video cable from the rear view from the rear camera. So I've tied the cable to the rear rack here. This is in case the adhesive tape there fails. At least it's not gonna rattle around. Then the cable comes around the back here. I've cable tied it there. It runs along here. And I have to be careful to push it away to this side. And the excess of the video cable, I've bundled them so it sits in this tool tray, and the forward end runs along here, just passes underneath, comes here and out under the fuel tank. There's a cable tie there as well. My next step is to connect a Merit or Hella male plug to this battery terminal ends. this is the power supply cable from the Android Auto CarPlay. As you can see, it is a very thin cable. This is the Merit or Hella plug, and as you can see, this cable is way too thin to be secured in there by itself. It will break. So I have a box of bootlace ferrule crimps of many different sizes. I'll strip the battery cable back, give it a twist to strengthen it, and then I'll bend it backwards onto the insulation itself like that. I will use the black color ferrule crimp. It fits up to 1.5mm square wire. I will fit the red cable first, slip it in there. The end just protrudes out. This is a bootlace ferrule crimper, handles wires from size 0.25 to 10mm square. Put that in there and crimp. Here we are. It's nicely crimped, not gonna go anywhere, and the bare wire is exposed at the far end. Now if I just test it for fit, there it goes in. I will cut this black insulation plastic a little bit shorter, much better, and then I might as well do the black cable. In stripping the black wire, I've accidentally shaved off some plastic insulation there. This is heat shrink. I'll cut a short length to slip it in there, and then I've got my Milwaukee M18 BHG heat gun. I'll use this to shrink the heat shrink. Yep, that'll do. Now to put the black ferrule crimp onto the black wire. Push it till I can see the bare copper at the end. There it is, exposed. Now I'll use my bootlace ferrule crimper again. There we are. I'll get some red insulation tape just to tape up that end because it's very thin and I don't want any accidental short circuit. Alright, that's what it looks like. Much thicker. This is the power supply cable. I've run it inside of the aluminium subframe. Just pops out here, and at this point I slip in the cover of the Merit plug. Here we are. Make sure there's no accidental cuts that can cause a short circuit. Now to take the Merit plug, insert the positive connector into the center core like that. And looking at this is why I want the red insulation tape to protect it against that sharp corner. Tighten it. That's good. Now for the black cable, I will have to cut this back a bit so that it can reach the screw hole. Got to be very careful I don't end up cutting the power cable itself. I think what I'll do is I'll trim off the end a little bit. There we are. Now slip that in so it doesn't protrude to the positive connector. I think that will do. Now to tighten the screw, before I cover up, I will tape this up. Now to screw the cover back to the plug. There. I will now test the connector to make sure that it powers up my Android Auto CarPlay device. I have the Android Auto CarPlay device installed to the motorbike. The power supply is plugged into the rear accessory socket. However, the ignition key is presently turned off. I will now turn the ignition key to on position. You see the motorcycle dashboard lights up. You'll see the Android Auto CarPlay also powers up. There we are. And the battery symbol at the top right hand corner has a lightning symbol on it. That means that the internal battery is receiving power from the rear accessory power socket. So that's good. My power supply connection is working properly. So I've now cable tied this power cable to the subframe here, 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 and to the main frame here, there, and there. So all good. Now that the cabling system is installed, I can install the left hand side seat panel. Just gonna make sure the three fixing points, 1, 2, and 3 here are all aligned. That feels secure, that's not pulling out. The rectangular transformer block is in the way. I might have to see if I can move it, shift it slightly. Yes, I think that's got it. Now to fix the two screws here and there. It's useful to have ball head Allen keys because you can work at it with a slight angle. This is my top tool torque wrench. The range of torque is from 1 Newton meter to 8 Newton meters. I need to tighten this two screws to 3 Newton meters. So I've set it to 3 Newton meters. This one is a bit difficult to get to. That's it, 3 Newton meters. That's also 3 Newton meters. So done. Next, reinstall the rider seat. And lastly, the pillion seat. That's it. After I installed my Android Auto CarPlay device on the motorcycle, I took it for a ride to test it as well as to record some videos from the front and rear cameras. I have here a USB-C plug and a USB-A plug. Open up the bottom tab to reveal the USB-C socket, plug that in. I have here a Milwaukee M1812MR lithium battery and a battery adapter. I'll have a video reviewing this battery adapter. Check it out on my YouTube channel. Plug this in. And you will see the Android Auto CarPlay device power up. It uses Wi-Fi direct to connect to my Android mobile phone. I think that's how it gets its date and time synchronization. You can see the battery is being charged and I have a micro SD card installed. The date and time is correct. To see the videos that were recorded when I rode the motorcycle, click on recorder and the screen will bring up one of the two video cameras. Because there's no video camera connected at the moment, it shows a blank screen. To go to the menu of the recorded videos, click this icon. And it brings up a list of the videos. If you can see the file name, it would be year, month, day. I will randomly click on one of the video camera files to view. Pick this one. I should be able to start it using this button here or that. Let me try. I find that sometimes it's not responsive, which is not good. I do not know whether it's because I put a protective film over it. I'll try this button. The microphone picks up wind noise, vibrations, but that's not important because to me the image is more important than the sound. I will load this video file separately. It is pretty good resolution. I will pause it. Now I can lock that file by pressing this button, and that file will be part of a list of locked files. If I go to this icon, unlock icon, here are a list of the files that have been locked and I can unlock that, but I won't. I'll go back up the menu. Here we are again. I find it not responsive to my finger touch. Now I will select a video from the rear facing camera. So this is the view from the rear camera. There's a bit of sun glare. Nevertheless, the image is pretty decent quality. I stop by pausing there. If I want, I can select a file randomly. There's the trash icon, so push this button to delete that file. I had to push it a few times. I can choose to delete all files if I press the icon, but I don't want to. I just want to delete the one file, so say confirm, and that one file is deleted. If I push this button, that will go to photo images if I took any, but I haven't. This is where on this menu I can take a photo image, and you can hear the camera shutter. Well, I do hope you found this video interesting and useful. Do hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more, and you will get notifications when I release more videos. Thank you so much.